The first thing people noticed about Jonah Pike was how easily he was forgotten. He was the kind of man whose name slipped through conversations. Like smoke, early 30s, soft-spoken, permanently hunched as if apologizing for taking up space. He worked nights restocking shelves at a grocery store that never learned his name. To the city of Brookhaven, Jonah was background noise, which is why when his sister vanished, the police decided it wasn't worth much time. Mara Pike disappeared on a rainy Tuesday morning. She kissed Jonah on the cheek, grabbed her umbrella, and promised she'd be home early. By midnight, her phone was off. By morning, her car was found abandoned behind a closed motel on Route 9. The police called it a likely voluntary disappearance. Jonah called it a lie. At the station, Detective Harold Crane barely looked up from his desk. "Adults leave sometimes," Crane said flatly. "Especially women with stress. No signs of struggle. No ransom note. No body." Jonah clenched his fists. "She wouldn't leave without telling me. I'm all she has." Crane sighed, already standing. "We'll file it, but don't expect miracles." That was the moment the police quietly gave up before they'd even begun. What Jonah didn't tell them was that Mara had been afraid. 2 weeks before she vanished, she whispered to him in their tiny kitchen, eyes darting to the windows. "My boss knows things about me," she said. "Things I never told anyone." Mara worked as a receptionist at a private medical research firm owned by Victor Hale, a celebrated philanthropist, hospital donor, and political power broker. His face smiled from billboards. His name opened doors, and apparently it closed investigations. Jonah tried going back to the firm. Security stopped him before he reached the lobby. "Mr. Hale doesn't have time for this," the guard said. "But my sister, take it up with the police." The same police who wouldn't return his calls. So Jonah did what underdogs do when institutions fail them. He started listening. He replayed Mara's voicemails. He combed her old notebooks. He found a USB drive hidden inside a cereal box, labeled only with a single word written in her handwriting: insurance. The files were encrypted. Jonah spent nights at the public library watching tutorials, teaching himself skills he never thought he'd need. It took him 3 weeks to break in. What he found made his stomach turn. Internal emails, research logs, patient records altered and erased, evidence of illegal drug trials, unapproved, dangerous, and profitable. Mara hadn't just been a receptionist. She'd been a witness, and Victor Hale had noticed. Jonah took the drive to the police. Detective Crane glanced at it and slid it back across the table. "This is corporate data theft," he said quietly. "You could get in serious trouble." Jonah's voice shook. "It proves my sister didn't leave on her own." Crane leaned closer. "Some advice? Stop digging. People with less have lost
More. The message was clear: be quiet. But silence had already taken enough from Jonah. He walked out of the station knowing something had changed. Not in the world, but in him. The power shift didn't come with sirens. It came with a laptop, a cheap microphone, and a channel. Jonah started called the Disappearance police, quietly gave up on. He didn't accuse. He documented. He told Mara's story. He showed timelines. He blurred sensitive details, but left just enough to raise questions. Each video ended the same way: if you know something, say something, even if they tell you it doesn't matter. The videos didn't go viral at first. Then a former lab technician commented. Then a nurse. Then a family member of a trial patient who died from complications. The comment section became a confession booth. Within weeks, journalists began asking questions the police hadn't. Federal agencies took interest. Sponsors quietly distanced themselves from Victor Hale. The irony was sharp. Jonah, the man no one listened to, had built a place where thousands now spoke. Victor Hale finally responded in a press conference. "My heart goes out to the Pike family," he said solemnly. "But these accusations are baseless. Grief can distort reality." Jonah watched the broadcast from his kitchen, Mara's empty chair in front of him. That night, his channel was flagged. Videos removed, his email flooded with warnings. Then came the message. No name, no number, just coordinates. And a photo. Mara's umbrella, mud-stained, broken, unmistakable. Jonah followed the coordinates to an abandoned storage facility on the edge of town. Police tape fluttered at the entrance, old and sun-bleached. Inside, investigators found evidence of unlawful detention, blood, personal items, enough to issue warrants. Victor Hale was arrested 2 days later on multiple charges. The city erupted in relief, outrage, disbelief. People called Jonah a hero, but heroes don't sleep, because as the headlines celebrated justice, Jonah noticed something no one else did. Mara's name was still listed as missing. At the end of his next video, Jonah stared into the camera longer than usual. "They want you to believe justice is an arrest," he said softly. "But justice is truth, and truth isn't finished yet." He held up a new envelope. "Because this morning," Jonah continued, "I received something else." The screen cut to black. White text appeared. She wasn't supposed to survive. Then another line, "Part 2 coming soon." And somewhere beyond the reach of cameras and courts, the real story of Mara Pike was still unfolding. The envelope Jonah held at the end of the last video was heavier than paper had any right to be. Inside were 3 things: a motel keycard, a handwritten note, and a phone number that wasn't in service anymore. The note was written in shaky ink, but he recognized the handwriting instantly. Mara's, it read, "If you're reading this, they think I'm dead. Don't let them finish the job." Jonah didn't sleep that night. He replayed every memory, every moment he'd dismissed as fear or stress. The way Mara had started double-locking the door. The way she stopped answering calls at work. The way she'd asked him casually if anyone would look for her if she disappeared. He had laughed then. That laugh echoed in his head now like an accusation. At dawn, Jonah drove to the motel listed on the key card. It was the kind of place people went when they didn't want to be seen. Flickering sign, cracked pavement, curtains permanently drawn. The clerk barely looked up. "Room 117, she said, sliding a registry toward him. The name signed there wasn't Mara's. It was Victor Hale's head of security. The room smelled like bleach and old smoke. Someone had tried to erase it. But erasing isn't the same as removing. Jonah found scratches on the bathroom door frame, fingernail marks hidden under fresh paint. Behind the mattress, taped carefully to the bed frame, was a second USB drive. This one wasn't labeled. It didn't need to be. Back home, Jonah plugged it in with shaking hands. The first file was a video. Mara sat in a dim room, her face bruised, her voice calm in a way that broke him. "If you're watching this," she said, "it means Victor Hale panicked. I found proof they were testing drugs on patients without consent. When I threatened to report it, they decided to disappear me instead." She paused, swallowing hard. "They won't kill me yet. I'm leverage." The next files were worse. Footage of illegal trials, names of doctors, payment logs, and one final document titled Exit Plan. It listed dates, locations. One of them was tomorrow. Jonah uploaded nothing that day. Instead, he contacted the one journalist who hadn't tried to soften his story. He sent copies to federal investigators anonymously, and then he waited. Victor Hale noticed the silence immediately. For the first time since his arrest, he looked nervous. His lawyers filed motions. His allies went quiet. Power was slipping through his fingers and he could feel it. He made one mistake. He reached out. Jonah's phone rang at 2:17 a.m. The voice on the other end was smooth, practiced. "You've caused a lot of trouble," the man said. "This can still end quietly." Jonah said nothing. "Your sister made a poor decision," the voice continued. "You don't have to make the same one." Jonah finally spoke. "Where is she?" The line went dead. The next morning, authorities raided a private airstrip just outside the state. They found medical equipment, restraints, blood-stained sheets, and a locked room beneath the hangar. Mara was alive, weak, dehydrated, but alive. The news broke like an earthquake. The city that had doubted Jonah now repeated his name with reverence. Commentators called it a miracle. Prosecutors called it a breakthrough. Victor Hale's empire collapsed overnight as arrest warrants multiplied. Doctors flipped. Executives testified. The powerful turned on each other with shocking speed. Jonah sat beside Mara's hospital bed, holding her hand, afraid to blink. "You did this," she whispered. Jonah shook his head. "You did," he said. The trial was swift but brutal. Evidence stacked higher than Victor Hale's donations ever had. The jury didn't need long. Guilty on all counts. The judge sentenced him to decades he would never outlive. As he was led away, Victor finally looked at Jonah, not with anger, with disbelief. The underdog had won, but justice has a way of never being complete. 3 weeks later, Mara was discharged. Jonah posted one final update thanking everyone. He said they were safe. He said the story was over. People believed him because they wanted to. That night, Jonah found Mara standing in the kitchen, staring at the window. "They're still out there," she said quietly. Jonah frowned. "Hale is in prison." Mara shook her head. "Men like him don't build empires alone." She handed Jonah her phone. A message glowed on the screen. No sender. Just words, "You exposed the head. Now the body is watching." Jonah felt the familiar chill crawl up his spine. He looked at the camera set up in the corner of the room, the one he'd never taken down. Slowly, deliberately, he turned it on. "Some stories don't end," Jonah said into the lens. "They just go quiet, and quiet is where monsters hide." The screen cut to black. White text appeared. "You thought justice was served.